Okay, so hey guys, so today I wanted to I'm not really sure what to call this video, but I'm going to do an updated top favorite highlights video. But I'm also going to be doing very in-depth reviews of favorites and not so favorites. I mean, I love every single highlighter that I have, but there are quite a few ones that I absolutely adore and love and couldn't live without, and then there's ones that are very subtle and don't really um are not really essential for me. I am typically a very intense highlight kind of girl. I like an intense highlight. Like, I'm not wearing too much of an intense highlight today because I'm wearing actually something that's not one of my all-time. I mean, it is in like my top 10, top 15, but it's not like one of my all-time favorites. But it is a favorite. Like, you guys already know what my all-time favorite highlights are, but I am going to be going through most brands and most ones that I've accumulated over the past year or so. I have done a makeup stash video before, and I did do a top 5 series of highlighters before that, but it was so hard for me to narrow it down to just 5 that I just decided to tell you my thoughts on most of the highlighters that I own right now. So I think I'm going to start with palettes first. How am I going to do this? Let's just go with some of my favorites first. So the first one I'm going to start with is one by Cover FX, and this is the Cover FX Illuminator in the shade Moonlight. This is one of my favorites. It is really, really pretty on the skin, and by the way, thank you to ELO. I don't know how to say your name. It's E, like with a space and then LO. So I guess LO, I'm going to call you LO. That's so cute because that used to be my boyfriend's dog's name. And so I'm just going to call you LO. Thank you so much for requesting to make this video. It is so flattering when I get somebody to make a request that doesn't happen often. And it's so cool just to see somebody ask you, you know, your thoughts on certain products. And I just really like doing that. I like sharing my thoughts with people, and I'm really glad that just some people just listen, so that's really sweet. So the first one I'm going to start off with is this one right here. This is called Moonlight. It has like an ivory kind of tint to it, and it looks like an ivory tan almost, but it comes off very like iridescent pink kind of. I feel like it comes off a little bit pinky. And that's what it looks like right there. It's just really, really pretty on the skin. It honestly comes off a lot more intense on the skin than it does being swatched. Because I feel like the swatch doesn't really do it justice, and I feel like it comes off a little bit more pink. So it is very buttery when you stick your fingers in, and this is one of my favorite highlights. I kind of want the other one too, but I got this because of Candy Johnson. She like raved about it in one of her favorites videos, and I don't have many items from Cover FX at all. I only use the Cover FX custom cover drops like basically every single day of my life. I can't do my makeup without those. And this is basically like the only other thing that I own from Cover FX, and it's really pretty. So Cover FX is a really great brand, but for some reason I only own 2 things from them. But I definitely recommend their highlighters. I think that they're really beautiful. Then the next one is actually the one that I'm wearing today, and I actually really fell in love with this. This is the Too Faced Candlelight Glow powder in the shade Rosy Glow. That's the highlighting powder duo. And I basically love everything that Too Faced does anyway. There are very few misses that I have with the brand because you guys know they're my all-time favorite brands, but it looks like a duo like this, and it has like a lighter, like, okay, this is more ivory. The other one's more of like a beigey kind of pink color, beigey tan. This is very white on this side, perfect for fair skin, and then this side is very pink. But like swirling them together, you get this really pretty effect. So this is what the white side looks like. They're really, really pretty and intense. And I really do feel like Too Faced nailed it by really making it look like a candlelit glow. So that one is the white side right there, and then this is the pink side. But I just swirl both together like all the time. And that's what it looks like right there. It doesn't really show up that pink, but together they look really pretty. I'm just going to swirl both together. Like, look how intense that is. Really gorgeous. And it has a really gorgeous, like, iridescence to it, as you can see. I don't really know how to explain every single highlight I have. I'm just trying to tell you, like, what my favorites are and what, like, my least favorites are, but these are definitely favorites. I wear this so much. I think it's so pretty, and this is like the first day that I'm wearing something that isn't champagne pop, so we'll get into that soon. But this is one of my favorites as well, and I think it's very buttery, and it really, like, it's intense, but I also feel like you don't have to build it up too much. Like, it's still really, really pretty on the cheeks, but it's not, like, crazy. It gives you, like, just that right amount of glow. Like, it's, like, just in the middle. I feel like I snapped it on weird. I don't know what just happened. But yeah, I really like that too. And then the next one, which is definitely very, very intense. This is one of my favorites. I don't wear it as much, though, for some reason. But every time I wear it, it is so intense and beautiful. It's still one of my top favorites. This is the Mary Luminizer by The Balm. The Balm's face products are so pretty, but especially their highlighters. This is so beautiful. Like, every time I wear this, I feel like it's so intense, but I did shatter it, so I'm just going to show it to you like this. Yeah, let's not do that. I'm just going to swatch it. I did, like, shatter the bottom. I probably should throw that part out, but I did save most of it. I didn't drop it, but look at this pigmentation right here. That is so friggin' intense. Like, it's like this beautiful white gold kind of color. And let's watch it right here. And as you can see, it's like very intense right there. This is like one of the only highlights, maybe the only highlight I own that looks so wet on your skin and so intense. It's like, it's some serious business. Like, anytime I wear it, my skin looks, I'm like, why is my skin so damn glowy? Like, it's glowing from the gods. It's this. Like, this is a solid highlight, and this is a cult favorite for a reason, because it's freaking bomb. So, I need to wear her more often, though. I have worn it a couple of times recently, but I need to show it some more love. But yeah, I love this. Just checking my eyeshadow, but it looks fine to me. But yeah, those are great. And also, you can pick up The Balm at Kohl's, because they sell The Balm at Kohl's. I need to make a trip there at some point and get some more stuff from The Balm, because their stuff is awesome. Then the next one, which is not as similar to the other highlights that I'm talking about, but it's actually one of my favorite subtle highlights. And I'm not a very subtle highlight kind of girl, but I really, really like how this one looks. And this is the Galactic Beauty Face Glow in the shade Natural. And I'm only talking about powder favorites in this video, powder highlight favorites. I'm not including my ColourPop ones, and I'm not including ones in palettes, except for if it's a highlight palette or something that is like brand new that I've already fallen in love with. The only other ones I'm really not including is one in like the Naked Flush palette and one in like the Tarte Showstopper Clay palette, but that's not really a huge deal in my ColourPop ones because those are creams. But yeah, I was super disappointed with the Galactic lip products. So many people talk about them, and I absolutely hated them. They were like the worst liquid lipstick I've ever tried, but their face products are so beautiful, and it was crazy because I pretty much knew I was already going to like this because so many people talk about their highlights and their blushes, especially their highlights though. This is really, really pretty. And again, it's a lot more natural than the other ones I'm talking about. I mean, it is called natural. As you can see, it's not as intense, but it's very pigmented. And it has more of like a natural glow to it. And that one is right there. As you can see, it doesn't catch the light as much. But on the skin, it comes off like more of like a natural highlight. Like if you're not like one of those girls that like doesn't love something that's that intense, but you still want a little something, I would suggest you go with this. Like this is really, really pretty. I want the other shade in, and I think it's called Luster, so I actually really want that one too. It is really pretty. And then the next one I would say is like similar to it in texture, or like the look of it, is the NARS Dual Intensity Blush in the shade Jubilation. I know this is considered a blush, but these are freaking highlights. Like, people use these as highlights all the time, and it's basically a straight up highlight. So that's what it looks like. It's this really beautiful, I'm trying to give you like reviews of like most recent purchases, and this is definitely the most recent, why can't I say most recent? This is like the most recent purchase I've made since like one other face palette that I'm going to show you, but it's really gorgeous. It has a gold side and like this tan kind of side. It kind of reminds me of Champagne Pop, this side, like a peachy side. And these aren't like super, super intense. I mean, when you swatch them, they're like really, really pretty and intense. That gold side is so pretty when you swatch it. And these have a little bit more glitter in them. That's what they look like right here. That one is the gold side. Look how pretty that is. And then this one is the tan side. And they have a little bit more glitter in it, but it's not like chunky glitter. And when you put this on the skin, it's not as intense as it comes off in the swatch. It's a little bit more subtle, which I actually really like, because it's like, again, kind of like that medium intensity. It's not super subtle, and it's not like in your face highlight. It's like just the right amount. So if you want, again, something that is not as in your face, I would go with one of these two. So out of all the highlights I have, probably this or the Girlaxic, I would say, is something that you could go with to give your face a little bit of a highlight, but not something that's like crazy highlighted. So then the next one I'm going to talk about is, I'm going to still stick with single ones. This one I'm not as crazy as about as like other people are. I know a lot of people say that this is really, really pretty, but I prefer the eyeshadow more over this. This is the Stila All Over Shimmer Duo in the shade Kitten. And don't get me wrong, it's not like it's not pretty. I just feel like it's not intense enough for me. And I know I just said before that those other highlights aren't as intense as I like, but they have more of like a natural glow to them that still, like, when it catches the light, it still looks like really pretty. I know it's crazy that I'm not like highlighted like crazy today, but I was kind of feeling something a little bit more subtle. And I feel like the Too Faced one gives me just that right amount of glow without looking over the top. This just looks a little bit too, like, it's not enough for me, you know? I mean, I do wear it, don't get me wrong, and when you swatch it, it looks really gorgeous. Like, the formula is really nice. This is the lighter side, and this is like the goldy side. But I don't know, when I put it on my face, it's just not as intense as I want it to be. As you can see, it doesn't catch the light too much, so it's a little bit more natural than, even more natural than the eyeshadow is. And you guys know Stila Kitten's like an all-time favorite eyeshadow, award-winning eyeshadow. That shadow is gorgeous. I wear it so much. I love it. But the highlighter duo is just not as intense as I would think it would be, as for something that is so intense in an eyeshadow form. I feel like you could use the eyeshadow more as a very intense highlight rather than this. So it's pretty, but I could go without it, honestly. So, oh, I think I grabbed a blush accidentally. Well, actually, never mind. Then the next ones, again, are very subtle highlights. This is probably the most subtle highlight I own, but I actually really like this. I'm not as crazy about it as like Kathleen Lights is, because she claims that this is her favorite highlight of all time. I think it's pretty, but I think it's more of like a everyday kind of like no makeup look highlight. So I do use it for that, and this is I'm going to talk about two Laura Mercier highlights right now. This is the first one. This one is the Matte Radiance Baked Powder in the shade Highlight 01. This is like their most popular one. This one is very hyped up. I mean, as you can see, I do use it. There's a lot of dust around it to say that I use it. And it's so pretty in the package, and it looks like a really gorgeous highlight, but it's not very intense at all. It's very natural, which I understand. It doesn't claim that it's going to be really, really intense, because it says it's a matte highlight. So for that to say that, I get it, and it's just really, really pretty. It looks like that. And as you can see, again, it's not as intense as the other ones. It's like just super natural looking, and I really like wearing it again for no makeup days, like when I go to the gym and I just want a little bit of something. I know most people don't wear makeup to the gym, but I just like wearing like concealer, blush, and highlight and mascara, and that's basically it. And like an all over powder. But like mostly, almost every single day of my life, I can't go without highlighting. That's like basically my addiction now is like I can't believe I didn't highlight before. Like I didn't know like what I was doing with my life, but I am just hardcore. I've always been obsessed with color and I've always been obsessed with glitter. So like obviously I'd be obsessed with the highlight too. But this is really beautiful when you want something like this is a great summer highlight too. When you have those no makeup days where you're like really, really sweaty and you don't want to wear too much makeup, this is really perfect for that. So that's why I really like this one. And then the other one I'm going to mention, I actually haven't used this in a long time, but this is actually really pretty too. This is the Laura Mercier Illuminator, Face Illuminator in the shade Indiscretion. And I need to use this more because I used to be like obsessed with it when I first got it. Just look at the packaging. It's so pretty. And it's like this really pretty, like, bronzy, pinky kind of shade. I don't know. It's really gorgeous. And it is really, really pretty, but for some reason I just don't use it. And that's what it looks like right there. And I'm going to swatch it right here. And I'm going to swatch it right under the Stila. And that's what it looks like right there. I mean, it is really pretty, so I need to use it more often. And I feel like people are like just discovering these highlights like right now, especially this one. And I'm like, dude, this came out like a year ago, and this was like on the top of my list for a while of what I wanted, and for some reason I don't use it anymore. But I really need to use it again, but that's just like something for me. This is really pretty on the skin as well. Again, it's more of like that medium intensity highlight as opposed to something that's like really highlighted. That's like basically the way I can describe it. It's very pretty on the skin. I don't find any of my highlights to like just sit on top of my skin because I always use my ethereal light powder from Hourglass to just blend everything together. If I could recommend any product out of anything ever, it would be those Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powders because they just blend your makeup so beautifully and gives you such a beautiful candlelit finish. I love the Ethereal Light Powder. It's gorgeous. They're just like some of the best makeup products I've ever used in my life. And so that's why my like highlight doesn't really like sit on top of my skin. Sometimes it does when I put on too much or when I put on something that has more color or pigment to it, like Galactic's Natural or Becca's Opal. Like those are more pigmented highlights and they're not like really typically for like fair skin, but I still wear them because I love them. But they have more of like a tan kind of color to them, so they're not always like super blendable. They kind of look a little bit bronzy, so like you have to blend it out more, and I find that really helps. So like I really need to try this to wear this more. I didn't even finish talking about it. So yeah. Then the next ones I'm going to talk about are two of the Bobbi Brown highlights. And yes, I have one in the full size and one in a mini size. I'm not going to get started on it. So I have the Bobbi Brown highlighting powders in Bronze Glow and Pink Glow. I got both of these during the Vibe sale because these are very expensive highlighters. These are like the most expensive highlighters I own besides one other highlighter. Hopefully I have it here. Oh my god. Hopefully I have that other highlighter one. Yes, I do. Okay. These two and one other highlighter I'm going to talk to you about are my most expensive highlighters that I own. I would say these are not worth $45. They're worth like maybe $30, $35, but I think it's kind of ridiculous when companies make highlighters that are like more than $35. I just think they're a little, unless it's like another brand I'm going to talk about, I don't think these are worth that much money. That's what I'm going to say right now. The reason why I have the mini one in this one is because I thought it only came in a mini size, and I'm pretty sure I paid full price for this, and I paid the same amount for this one, so at least I got my money's worth out of this. but I feel like I got gypped with this one. I don't know what the deal was, but I actually prefer this one over the other one. So this one is Pink Glow, and as you can see, I've used it a lot. This is one of my favorite highlights. I mean, I like it. It's one of my favorites, but it's not like one of my top favorites because I find these to be very glittery. That's the only thing I don't like about them that much, but they are very pretty. So that one is Pink Glow. And it's very, like, it swatches very intensely. Like, you see that up there? But I don't find it comes off as intense. Like, it's a very intense swatch, a very intense highlight, it looks like. But it doesn't come off like that on the skin. It comes off a little bit more subtle. And you would kind of expect it to come off like that, like almost look wet, like the Mary Luminizer. Like, look at that. That is so beautiful. Like, that's my kind of highlight. Like, I love highlights like that. Like, I would love to glow from the gods like that. But it doesn't really come off like that on the skin, and that's what I've heard from a lot of people, that they say like it's very glittery and doesn't come off as pigmented as when you swatch it, and it's true. But it is very pretty, and this is one of my favorites. So that's the pink one. And then this is the bronze glow one. And this one is a lot more like tan as opposed to like a white pink kind of color. And I wasn't going to pick this up originally when I got it at the Vibe sale, but then I was just like going highlighter crazy when I went to the Vibe sale. And again, look how intense that is. Like, you think it's going to come off like that on the face, but it doesn't. But it's still really pretty. Like, I still really like them, but they're not my absolute favorites. That one is Bronze Glow on the end right there. As you can see, it's really pretty. But again, they come off glittery. That's the only reason why they're not like my top favorites. But they are really pretty. So the next one I want to talk about is the Baked Gelato Swirl Highlighter from Laura Geller in the shade Gilded Honey. This one I like, but it's not one of my all-time favorites either. It's very pretty. The reason why, basically the only reason why I got this is because Young, Wild, and Polished always says that this is her favorite highlight of all time. It's not my favorite of all time. It is very pretty, but I prefer other gold highlights over this one. But it's still really nice on the skin. And that's what it looks like right there. Very pretty. I kind of want to swatch it next to Bronze Glow. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more yellow than Bronze Glow. And it kind of is very similar in texture. They almost look like dupes for each other for the texture. So that one is Gilded Honey. This is like the only thing I own from Laura Mercier. Laura Geller, of course I own more from Laura Mercier. I love Laura Mercier. But again, it doesn't come off as intense. Again, it's more of like that medium kind of intensity. So I like it, but it's not like, I'm not like, you know, like over the moon about it. But it is really pretty. But honestly, I probably could go without it. Now let's get into some more of my favorites. The first ones are the MAC Realized Skin Finishes in Soft and Gentle and Lightscapade. If I would have to choose one over the other, this is definitely one of my favorites. This one is Soft and Gentle. This one is so hyped up for a reason. It's so beautiful. I love this. It's just like, again, like, it's not, it's intense, but it's not like, holy shit, like, that's a highlight. It's just intense enough to be like, that girl's wearing a highlight, you know? It's really gorgeous. That's what it looks like right there. And these are glittery, but it like works. I don't know like how they do it, but the baked formula from MAC is so beautiful. That's what it looks like right there. If you can see that. It's so pretty. It's one of my favorites. I wear it so much. That's definitely like one of my top 10. And then the other one is Lightscapade, and this one is a little bit different because it's a lot more subtle, honestly. It's not as glittery as Soft and Gentle, but I still really love this too. It's a lot more like white on your skin, and it's really great for fair skin too. See how like not as intense or not as, it's really not as glittery at all as Soft and Gentle is, but as you can see, it's kind of like a matte kind of formula. This one doesn't really do it justice swatching it. You really have to put it on your cheeks and then it just looks so pretty. I really like how it looks on your cheeks. So I highly recommend the MAC Merlot Skin Finishes in any kind of formula, in the natural powders and in the highlighter powders. They're freaking bomb. And then the other one I want to talk about is the Kevyn Aucoin Celestial Powder in the shade Starlight. This is really pretty on the skin. And again, this is my most expensive highlight next to the Bobbi Brown. This one is $44 and it's so freaking tiny. That's the only thing. At least you get a huge ass thing with the Bobbi Brown. So that might make it worth $45. But this is so small and it's such a ripoff, honestly, but at least the product is really beautiful and I actually like this more so than the Bobbi Brown ones because it's so pretty. And that's what it looks like right there. And it's like, it has this pink tone to it, but it's just like, it's like a pinky gold on the skin, and it's just so pretty when you wear it. So that's what it looks like right there. It's one of my favorites too. I really love this, honestly. But I don't wear it as often as my other highlights because, I don't know, I just don't. And then the last one I want to talk about, and then I'm going to get into like my favorites, is this NARS blush. Well, technically it's called a blush, but it really is a highlight in the shade Albatross. And this is one, like an old school one, like so many people like this. And it's kind of similar to like Becca's Pearl. I feel like this was like what Pearl looks like. And this has like green and pink in it. It has like a reflectiveness of that. It reflects like pink and green, and it is really pretty. It's like a very light highlight right here, and that's what it looks like. It's kind of like a yellow white, and it is really pretty, but I haven't worn it in such a long time. But this used to be like one of my top favorites, so I think I need to wear it again. So I will let you know what I think of it again, but it is one of my favorites. Like, I really do like this a lot. So now let's get into my favorites and stop rambling. So the first one is a recent favorite that I've fallen in love with. If you want to get something that like has just come out and you're not sure like what to get, this is definitely worth it. This is so gorgeous. This is the Urban Decay Afterglow Highlighter in the shade Sin. This is so beautiful. Like, I can't even explain it. This is like the one highlight I have that like doesn't sit on the skin at all, and it's so intense, but it's so beautiful on the skin. Like, I can't even describe it. It's so gorgeous. Like, I have to swatch it. Like, it's so beautiful. Look how pigmented that is. Oh. And then I'm going to swatch it right here. Let's get a really good swatch. And then that's what it looks like right there. Do you see that? Look how intense that is. Like, it's so much more intense than all of these highlights right here. Look at that. Do you see that? Like, it's not playing games. And the formula is so buttery. And it just looks so pretty. Like, I love wearing it with the Naked palette. I love Urban Decay, though. And I knew when they were going to come out with highlighters, I knew they were going to slay it. I mean, basically everything that they make, I freaking love from them. So I knew I was going to love this too. And so many people were waiting for them to come out in a highlight for Sin. And I'm definitely going to wear this tomorrow too. Your girl ain't playing. And then, do I have any other single ones before I get into palettes? Oh, I actually have two, but they're like very, oh, you know what? They're just two very subtle highlights. Maybe we'll just save them for the end. So now let's get into this baby right here. These are super intense. They are so pretty on the skin. This is the Tarte Skin Twinkle Lighting Palette. I have raved about this in my past couple favorites videos. The highlights in here are just so slaying. Like, Tarte really slayed the game with this. I feel like they kind of tried to step it up like Becca status and really did an awesome job. Don't mind this though. I only got this for these two. Like, that middle shade, no. But these two, Sunlight Sunlight and Moonlight. So gorgeous, and I love mixing them, and they're so soft when you dip your fingers in. And that's what they look like right there. Hopefully you guys can see and I'm not like just blinding you with highlight. And the swatches don't really do them too much justice, but when you put these babies on your face, they're so pretty. So that's Sunlight and that's Moonlight. As you can see, they're not, I mean, Moonlight is just as intense as Sin. They might even be like super similar, honestly. I mean, Moonlight's a little bit more like tannish, but they're kind of very similar. Maybe that's why I love them so much, but they are really gorgeous. I love Tarte too. They like if you really want to get a new highlighting palette, I would suggest this and the other ones I'm going to talk about. So now let's get into like my top 2 favorite highlights. What's crazy, like highlighting brands. What's crazy is that you guys know I kept on saying that I wasn't ever going to really buy from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but her highlighters are so bomb. I cannot tell you how much I love her highlighters. Like, these 2 glow kits are solid. They are so beautiful. I can't believe how gorgeous these highlights are. Like, honestly, if you want to get a good highlighting palette, and if you're going to, like, somebody that's fair, this one in Gleam is going to be, like, your best friend. But if you're into more, like, a gold highlight, I would suggest this one. But I use every single shade in here because every single shade works for me. And they are so gorgeous. They're so, like, buttery, and they're so, like, they don't sit on the skin at all. Like, and they're just really, oh my god, they're just so gorgeous. These are my 2 favorites, Crushed Pearl and Starburst. Look at those. Like, they're so gorgeous. All right, where are we going to swatch this that we have, like, a good place? So that's what they look. Look at that. Look at how they catch the light like that. They're just, they're so pretty. So this one is Crushed Pearl. Oh my god. This one is Crushed Pearl, and this one is Starburst. Why is the light freaking blinding you? There you go. They're just so intense, and they catch the light so beautifully. I don't have to swatch all of them, but I am telling you, I really highly 1000% recommend these Anastasia Glow Kits. They are beautiful. And then I really like that she also catered to darker skin girls as well with the other highlighting kit. But I use like 3 out of the 4 highlights in here. I probably could use the other one as a bronzer since I've been getting into bronzer a lot more. But again, this is freaking beautiful. So beautiful. I use these 3 highlighters. So, I mean, I really feel like you get your money's worth out of these. And I really love how reasonably priced Anastasia Beverly Hills is. Her prices aren't like friggin' crazy for a high-end brand. Like, her eyeshadows are $12. I mean, I know people say that her eyeshadows are a little bit expensive, but this is $40, and these are all like basically full size, and you're getting 4 full-size highlighters, which I think is a great deal. So my 2 favorites here are Bubbly and Sunburst. Look at that. Look how beautiful they are. And let's just put those on the bottom right here. And that's what they look like. No, that's not a good, that is not a good swatch. Let's do that one more time. That was a really bad swatch. So that's what they look like right there. And that's what they look like there. See how pretty those are? Like, I accidentally pressed the pause button. Let's do this again. Like how, I don't know why I'm having such trouble with these. It's late and I need to take off my makeup really soon because it's like 11:30. But I wanted to make sure I recorded this video before like Thursday, and I feel like this is like the only day I have time. But that's what it looks like right here. This one is Sunburst and this one is Bubbly. Really gorgeous. I wear those ones constantly. I was like hardcore obsessed with the Gleam kit when I first got it because I was like, wow. I wasn't sure if I was going to pick these up when they first came out, but so many people were talking about them. I was like, all right, fine, I'm going to get them. And honestly, they are so worth the money. And it's crazy how these are $40 and one of the Bobbi Brown ones are $40. Like, I could get 2 glow kits for 2 Bobbi Brown highlights. Like, I'd much rather spend my money on these instead. Because those are so worth it. And then, I actually prefer these, though, over those. I mean, I love those, but I actually prefer the Anastasia Beverly Hills regular single highlights more because they're a little bit more intense for me. I know people say that the formula is better, and honestly, it might be with the glow kits because they're very soft and buttery and beautiful when you put them on. But these are just so intense and beautiful for me. I wear So Hollywood so much. It's like probably my favorite gold highlight until I found the new one that I'm about to show you because that just slayed the game entirely for me. But So Hollywood is definitely like my all-time favorite gold highlight. It's just so gorgeous. Like, I can't get enough of this. I wear this so freaking often. Like, whenever I want to be like a gold, bronzy, gold goddess, this is what I pull out. And see how intense it is? You see that? Look at that. It's nuts. And then you see like I mean, like, these are still beautiful, but that is like what I look for. That is so gorgeous, and that's how it looks on your cheeks. Like, the pigmentation actually like transfers to your cheeks. I love that. And then the other one is Starlight. I actually don't wear it as often as So Hollywood, which is crazy because I'm so fair, but I love me a gold highlight. But Starlight is gorgeous as well, and I love both of these equally. This is so, so pretty, and that's what it looks like right there. It's so pretty. Let's get a really good swatch again. Like, see that? Look how blinding they are. Like, they are not playing games. I swear, when a highlight blinds you in the camera, you know that it's like, it's serious pigmentation. And I just really love the Anastasia highlighters. I think they're freaking bomb. Now, let's get into my favorite. Let's get into my favorite highlighters of all time. You guys already know. The Becca Shimmering Skin Perfectors because they are just the best highlights of all time, and nobody can beat the highlighters from Becca. They are just so on another level of any highlighters ever. They're so gorgeous on the skin. So you know what's funny is that actually this one is my least favorite now out of the 4. I mean, I still freaking love it, but I don't wear it as often as the other 3. So the first one I'm talking about is Moonstone. It is gorgeous and it's great for fair skin, but I just don't find it's as intense as like the other ones. I mean, it's still gorgeous, but I just don't wear it as often. I used to be hardcore obsessed with it. Like, I used to wear it all the time, and now I just feel like I wear other ones a little bit more often. Like, see, it has like that similar kind of white texture like Starlight does, and it's like kind of more like a yellowish kind of white color, and that's what it looks like right there. But it's not as like intense as the other ones are, but it's so pretty. It's this beautiful like vanilla-y kind of color. So that's the first one. Then the next one is Pearl, and this was like the most high in demand highlight that they had for like such a long time, and I was hardcore with this when they first came out with it. I thought it was like the perfect like winter highlight because it so reminded me of like Frozen and like snow because it's so white and beautiful, intense, and gorgeous. It is like, wow. It kind of looks like cocaine on my on my fingers right now. That's what it looks like right there. But this one is not playing games though. It's really not. Like, look at that. That is kind of insane. Look how beautiful that is. It's like so white, like it literally looks like liquid, like powdery pearl on your cheeks. That's how beautiful it is. That's one of my favorites as well. then you guys know. These are basically tied as like my two favorites ever is Opal and Champagne Pop. I cannot get enough of these two. Opal is just freaking gorgeous. I know that the subscriber that who asked me to make this video wasn't too crazy about Opal, but she wanted to know my thoughts on Champagne Pop. I mean, you know right now. But I love Opal. I don't know how you can't like this one. I mean, of course you can like whatever you like, but I love Opal. Like, it's just so intense and so beautiful. It's it's just so gorgeous. And that's what it looks like right here. It's just gorgeous. I love Opal. And that's what it looks like on the top here. I mean, the Anastasia kind of looks the same. I mean, Anastasia really stepped it up with her highlighters. But this is Opal right here. Look at that. Just look how gorgeous it is. I mean, if So Hollywood doesn't blind you, let's do it like that. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And I wear it so much. Like I said, the only thing about it is that it's super pigmented, so it can come off a little bit bronzy for my fair skin, so I have to be careful with it sometimes, but it's so intense and gorgeous that it's like basically my go-to so much. And then of course, my favorite is Champagne Pop. I cannot get enough of this highlight. I use it like so much. I can't believe it became my favorite highlight ever. But Jaclyn Hill is my favorite YouTuber. She's my favorite beauty blogger. I love her to death. I feel like my lipstick started bleeding during this video, which is a little bit annoying. I feel like I kind of look like a clown now, but whatever. But I don't just use this as a highlight by itself. I use it to mix with so many highlights all the time. If I ever want to add like a certain kind of oomph or a certain kind of intensity to a highlight, I will always go and grab this because I always know it's going to add that extra boost of highlight that I need because it's just phenomenal. But I wear it on like a weekly basis, at least 2 or 3 times a week by itself because it's my absolute favorite of all time. It's just amazing. We need a swatch that gives it a little bit of justice, and that's what it looks like right there. As you can see, blinding from the gods, just like these two. I mean, look how intense that is. We're gonna wipe off the rest of them, and we're gonna give you a legitimate swatch of that. That's what it looks like. I mean, it's not really playing games. It's just so gorgeous. It's this gorgeous peachy gold highlight, and it just works for absolutely everything, and I can't get enough of this. I freaking absolutely love it. It's my favorite. It's my absolute favorite. And then probably the favorite combination that is my favorite of all time, though. I mean, it still includes Champagne Pop, but it includes a newer Becca highlighter as well, and it's from the Becca Jaclyn Hill face palette. This has been my absolute baby recently, and I just can't get enough of this highlight combination. This is my favorite of all time. And this is Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop, and this is the brand new highlighter from Becca. I am so dying for them to make this permanent because this highlight duo is the best ever. If you want something that is so friggin' poppin' intense this summer, you go for these. I'm not even joking. This highlight combination is what you need to do. I'm not even saying you might need to try it. You need to go try this like right now. So this is Champagne Pop and this is Prosecco Pop. Prosecco Pop is the most intense gold I've ever seen in my life. And that's what it looks like right there. And this is Champagne Pop. So let's do Prosecco Pop right underneath. And that's what it looks like. Look at that. Look how gorgeous. And then we're going to put Prosecco Pop on top of Champagne Pop. And this is what I've been doing like so much. And this is how it like transforms it. Look at that. Look at that beautiful highlight. It's just like a gold dream. It's like a yellow gold, and it's just so gorgeous. I can't. It's friggin' beautiful. If you can get your hands on this palette, you need to for this highlight. Like, I know I'm saying like you need this, and it's kind of hard to get your hands on this palette, but they are going to be bringing it back on June 16th, and it's going to be in stores then as well. So go pick it up then. Go pick it up then. It's so phenomenal. And then I just wanted to include two more that I kind of forgot. This video is like 10 gajillion years long. But the first one is one of my all-time favorites. This is the Hourglass Luminous Light Powder. I use this all over the face as a finishing powder, but this is also one of my all-time favorite subtle highlights. I just kind of forgot to mention it, so we're just going to mention it right now. And it just gives like this really beautiful natural glow, and it's just like nothing too crazy, but it is really beautiful. And then the other one is the Josie Maran Argan Enlightenment Illuminizing Veil. I could not say that to save my life. I had to say that really slow. And this is really pretty too. Again, these are very subtle highlights. I wouldn't really like say that these are like summery. They're like this one I might even be able to just use it as a highlight, as a finishing powder. I wanted to try this because this Jaclyn Hill raves about this one too. But that was just a sample that I got from Sephora, but it is very subtle. So yeah, that's it. So please like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram, pseudou819, and my Twitter is pokerface819, and my Snapchat is pokerface819. And I hope that this was helpful, LO. And thanks, guys. Bye.